In this big-hearted epic action movie, we witness a remarkable story of the Agojie, an elite all-female warriors that protects their African kingdom. Based on some true events, this movie mixes legend, bravery, and emotions to tell not only a war story, but also one about bravery and wisdom. Welcome to the story of the Woman King. This epic film will take us through a beautiful and inspiring story. Hits with an impact that's hard to resist. Welcome back to Synopsis Kings. Are you ready to be amazed? Let the journey begin. West Africa, 1823. The opening scene shows us that Agojie, a young man, has been crowned king of Dahomey. His villagers are being captured by their enemies, the Oyo Empire and the Mahi warriors, and then sold to European slave dealers. We see that the Oyo warriors have a clear advantage with their guns and horses. The Dahomey, however, have a group of female African warriors called the Agojie, led by General Nanisca, who leads her warriors to protect the Dahomey kingdom. Men are lounging over a campfire in the middle of a field. They are alarmed by the flight of birds flying away from the long grass behind them. Out of nowhere, Nanisca, the Agojie warriors, appear from the tall grass. They start attacking the Mahi warriors to free their Dahomey captives. After winning the battle, the Agojie mourn their dead and escort the Mahi captives back home. They manage to leave the Mahi village before the Oyo warriors arrive. A defiant teenager is offered to an older man as a gift for marriage by her father. Her father is frustrated with his daughter's refusal to marry earlier suitors. The new potential husband is talking to Nawi and slaps her when she doesn't respond. Nawi responds by pushing him hard enough to fall to the ground. Outraged, he accuses her of being worthless and leaves. Frustrated with her behavior, her father offers her to the king, where Agojie, an Agojie warrior, takes her in. We move back to the village that witnessed the earlier battle. Oyo soldiers, led by General Oba Ade, arrive and see the corpses of the dead warriors. Oba is not happy that their fellow soldiers were murdered by women. After insulting his warriors, he vows to exact revenge on Dahomey. Oyo is the biggest threat to Dahomey, and Agojie addresses his council to discuss their threat. Nanisca, concerned about the slave trade, says it affects their kingdom, casting a dark shadow on their people taken as slaves. Offering Africans as slaves to Europeans in exchange for guns or other goods is a circle of oppression that the guilt-ridden Nanisca wants the king to break. She suggests they switch the slave trade to gold or palm oil. Agojie is skeptical and responds by asking her to prove that they are capable of producing enough palm oil before making a decision. Nawi never makes it to the king because the fearless but entertaining warrior, Agojie, who sees Nawi's defiance as a strength, enlists her in Agojie training. She is lined up with the new Agojie recruits, who are being addressed by Nanisca's right-hand warrior, Amenza. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She tells them they will become warriors, fight, and potentially die for their kingdom. They will have no husbands, and they can't bear children. Of course, as expected, some of them left, but most of them, including Nawi, chose to stay. Training for the new Agojie recruits starts. Our rebellious Nawi grumbled that they should be using actual weapons instead of the ropes. She obviously wasn't pleased about it. Responding to her frustration, Nanisca gives Nawi her sword and asks her to behead a straw training statue. Nawi, struggling to lift the sword, makes Nanisca take over and chop the head off with one swing. She meets Nanisca in the bath, and they have a warm chat about the reason she came to join the Agojie. Nawi tells her about her passion to become a great warrior. At night, Agojie opens up to Nawi and talks about her mother and how she allowed men to abuse her until she finally managed to fight back. The next day, the new recruits continue their training, but this time, they start using firing arms and start their combat skills training. Nawi becomes creative and sets a small amount of explosives on one of the statues as a prank, which explodes when the older warriors demonstrate how to behead the statue. Shocked and unimpressed, Nanisca, our serious leader, asks, "Who's behind this?" Nawi takes the blame and apologizes, but Nanisca disciplines her for it. Nawi meets Nanisca at the bath. Our defiant teenager questions why they can't have a family of their own. Nanisca, again not impressed by her defiance, responds by saying, "Now I understand why your family let you go." After a heated discussion, Nawi cries. But Agojie later tells her that Nanisca is considered a legend. She was captive, left for dead, and yet still managed to rise up to become the leader of the Agojie. Amenza, Nanisca's trusted friend and second in command, visits her in her hut. A dream keeps haunting Nanisca, that something is waiting for her in the jungle. Amenza uses her special magical rocks for some answers. She tells Nanisca that someone from her past will be coming back for her. After that brief chat, Nanisca hears noise outside and watches as Nawi practices her sword skills on one of the statues. The Oyo, led by Oba, arrive at Dahomey, crashing their festivities for a confrontation with Agojie. Stunned, Nanisca is having flashbacks about being tied, tortured, and raped by Oba when she was his captive. Oba challenges Geza and asks for 40 Agojie warriors as slaves, but Gezo only allows 20, which Nanisca chooses. Feeling sick of the flashbacks, Nanisca confirms Amenza's prophecy that indeed her past will be coming. Led by Captain Santo Ferreira and his friend Malik, who was born in Dahomey, Portuguese settlers arrive in Africa. Malik is not thrilled to see the captured Aboriginal people. The Agojie march in to face Oba to deliver their warriors as captives. Led by Nanisca, she says they will not provide the agreed-upon 20 Agojie tributes. Instead, Nanisca gives Oba some of his men's severed heads, shouting him that Gezo fears no one. Nanisca challenges Oba while the others retreat as per their plan, but our defiant Nawi stays behind to help her. They both manage to escape. Angry, Nanisca lectures Nawi that she should have followed order and not stayed behind, that the Agojie are strong together and alone they are weak. Amenza reminds Nanisca that she was the one who broke the plan, but Nanisca has a plan of her own, to kill Oba. Ferreira and Malik meet with Oba. They remind him about their deal to get more slaves. They want Oyo to attack Dahomey. Malik is unhappy with the discussion. While enjoying his bath in a nearby lake, Nawi takes his clothes and calls him a slaver, which he denies and tells her about his Dahomey heritage. He shows her his cross necklace before she retreats back to the forest. The day has come where the new Agojie recruits get to show their skills and compete against one another. Captain Santo Ferreira and Malik arrive to watch the competition with King Gezo, which Nawi takes note of. The competition involves thorn bushes, wall obstacles, and fighting skills, ending with a race to behead one of the training straw statues. Nawi is declared the winner even though she retreated to help one of her teammates. Interesting enough, we see Nanisca silently cheering for her. King Gezo jokes that he would have made her his wife if she wasn't a fierce fighter. Later, Nanisca comes to check over the Warairos and notices something on the back of Nawi's shoulder. She also learns that Nawi is an adopted orphan. Shocked, she hurries to her room and is followed by Amenza. Anxious and stressed, she asks about a newborn that Amenza was supposed to get rid of. Amenza confesses that she gave the child away. She doesn't know her fate. Now, Nanisca is having doubts about Nawi, suspecting she might be her missing child. Ferreira speaks to King Gezo about his intentions to possibly end Dahomey's involvement in the slave trade. He tells him that the Europeans prosper from the slave trade and that this trade also made Gezo rich. Without it, he will be a king of mud and unprotected. Gezo responds that if the Europeans are not useful for him, then they will also be unprotected. Malik and Nawi spoke discreetly while Ferreira was talking to Gezo. He asks her to meet later. That night, the new recruits took their blood oath, transforming them into Agojie warriors. Nawi goes to meet Malik in secret, and Nawi offers Malik a totem to protect him. She takes one of his knives when he tells her he has nothing to give in return. Nawi goes to the bath, finds Nanisca, and shares what Malik told her. The Europeans are teaming up with Oba to march an army on Dahomey. We can see that Nanisca still has a huge burden on her chest. She criticizes Nawi for sneaking out to see Malik. She asks Nawi to approach her, and she shares with her that she was captured, raped, and had to hide her humiliation after becoming pregnant. She gave birth to a girl and asked Amenza to get rid of the baby. But before taking the child, Nanisca managed to hide a shark tooth in the back of her left shoulder. Surprised, Nawi confirms she's not her child, but Nanisca cuts into Nawi's shoulder and pulls the tooth out. A very heartbreaking moment where Nawi leaves shocked and in disbelief, confirming that she is indeed her daughter. The next day, Nanisca wants to prepare for a potential war against the Oyo army. She remembers Nawi's trick. She can put the gunpowder to better use, plan for the upcoming war, and boom, ignite the spark that starts it all. The explosions did surprise the Oyo soldiers. They scattered, and the Agojie launched an attack, leading to a fierce and bloody battle that left many Oyo and Agojie dead. Sadly, some of the Agojie, including Izogi and Nawi, get captured by the Oyo. Nawi frees one of the Agojie captives and asks her to run back to Dahomey. They are taken on a wagon back to the harbor, as Oba has plans to sell them as captives. Nawi helps Izogi fix her broken arm. Remember the young warrior that Nawi saved? She managed to return to Dahomey and inform Nanisca that Nawi was the one who freed her. Shocked that she is still alive, Nanisca has a tough decision to make. Gezo promotes Nanisca in front of his council, but later forbids her from going back to free the prisoners, reminding her not to challenge him as king. Izogi and Nawi manage to escape when the European slavers came to showcase their captives. They both fight and try to escape, but Izogi is fatally shot and dies in Nawi's arms as she wails for her sister. Nawi is captured again, but Malik goes to visit her and tells her how the captives will be leaving for England and that he wishes to protect her. An interesting twist in Nanisca's character is that she's torn between her character as a fierce leader and now a loving mother, she leaves Dahomey alone. Her Agojie army follows their leader, along with some of Dahomey's male troops, to rescue the captives. Nanisca leads the warriors into the Europeans' camp for an attack. They free the captives and launch a surprise attack. They set fire to the camp and attacked everyone for the ultimate battle. Nawi hears the Agojie and joins the battle after asking Malik to leave. He runs to the beach and turns on Ferreira. He frees the captives, causing them to drag Ferreira into the water, where he drowns. Nanisca finally gets to face Obe, and they engage in a fierce back-and-forth battle. Nanisca is hurt, but manages to empower and stab him. Before killing him, she says very powerful words. "You might not remember me, but now you will never forget." Nawi arrives to help her mother, saving her from a few soldiers. The Agojie regroup, and on their way home, Nawi parts ways with Malik. Gezo confronts Nanisca upon their return. He acknowledges that she disobeyed her king, but is thankful to her for ending the Oyo Empire. He reminds everyone that they are warriors, and they must end the oppression of his people. He officially promotes her to the title of Woman King. Well deserved. Nanisca joins Nawi when she is paying tribute to Izogi. She apologizes to Nawi for leaving her as a child. The two then end it with a beautiful and emotional scene where they hug as mother and daughter before joining the others for their dance celebration. This is a terrific film in almost all respects. Viola Davis was amazingly good as General Nanisca, Thuso Mbedo is also amazingly good as Nawi, and director Gina Prince-Bythewood just made the big leagues with her extremely skillful, well-crafted, and purposeful film that tells a narrative of power and passion. We urge viewers worldwide to take the time and see how a historical action movie is supposed to be made. Every like fuels our passion to create more content for you. Make your mark and hit the like button. Be a part of the Synopsis Kings family and hit the subscribe button now.